All right, welcome to a very memey game. That's right, both pro players going for Goths on Golden Swamp. We have Hera, the Canadian, second best player in the world, third best player in the world. Certainly has risen his level a lot over the last year. He's in the red, and then we have MBL in the green, playing as the Goths. This is Christmas colors. This is so Christmassy. I like it. Anyways, so I'm not going to get into it. I don't even know the whole story. All I know is I showed up and was watching this game, and apparently it was Meme Monday. So in previous games, so-and-so, like Hera tries something that he would consider a meme, and then MBL judged the quality of such meme and said, oh, that's not a meme. And so after a few games, it became a one-up war where let's do something a little bit crazier than the next person. And then I don't know if they both chose Goths or what, but this is about to get very, very interesting. Hera starts it off. Now, he's not going for the straight eco approach. He's actually sending a villager forward, and that villager's already near MBL's base. In fact, the villager did more scouting so far than the scout. So there's that. And it's Goths, right? So there's a lot of things you could do. You could go for a fast barracks. So MBL builds the barracks. Now, this is pre-lumber camp barracks. This is low elo legend territory, chopping the straggler trees. But the only way you can get a barracks out this quickly is to go for the stragglers, right? Because you wouldn't have the wood otherwise. Here's MBL's point of view. He sees the scout. He was also scouting with a water buffalo, so he might be safe to assume that the water buffalo was stolen by the scout here. Did not see the Vil, though. So Hera's just passing. The Goths have this wacky little bonus where they can do more damage against boars, or in this case, rhinos. And that's what Hera was looking for. He wanted this to be very, very messy. So that villager's been walking this entire time. She's idle. And here she comes. This is MBL's point of view. Now he's trying to force drop food and make militia nice and early to go for a drush. And guess what, MBL? Hera's going to take some of that food from you. Now, it was like... like, MBL's response to this was a little bit childish, right? He's like, oh, what a meme. Goths have a bonus against rhinos or boars, right? It's like anything that happens, he's going to judge the quality of that meme. But that's a really aggressive play from Hera. And it's really sending a message that this is not going to be the cleanest of all games. MBL arrives. He's sending the militia forward. We have the random water buffalo coming back. It's madness. And then MBL cannot take his rhino now, or if he does, you better do it soon because it's rotting and he has to walk long distances. Hera is going to shoot these goats, so MBL is suddenly out of food when he very much needs it for his strategy. So 15 population, or 15 eco for both, to 16 population for Hera, including a scout, and then 20 for MBL because he has a lot of militia. And so MBL, as these militia come forward, he's thinking, well, you have a rhino here. I'm going to do the same thing to you. And Hera has his rhino, and he also has his deer here. This is the type of game that would frustrate me so much to play in. It's just like, yes, this is how the game can be played, but it's so unbelievably messy and dirty in many ways, right? We've got to weather that storm. This could be really complicated for Hera. Hera does have loom, but he has to get the quick walls up because otherwise you could lose villagers. The MBL is able to get in here. This villager's walled in, of course. Oh, that was beautiful from Hera. That's actually sick because not only is he trapping the militia, but he's getting free hits in. All right, so MBL will run away, and Hera builds the gate! The gate! And he traps him! What a play! Oh, that was so beautiful. The idea of a drush, the idea of these militias just to delay and just to harass, but if they're stuck in there, good luck. All right, well, here's MBL. He's shooting the rhino. He has more militia on the way. And Hera, not really sure what to do after all of that. See, he didn't go for the early barracks, and this is it's kind of out of control at the moment. Hera almost feels like he has to repair that gate, but that's a lot of wood you have to invest. This might end up being slightly better for MBL anyways, because this is harassment. This is resources that Hera has to invest into something that he wouldn't want to invest into. So Hera makes his own barracks now. Keep in mind, he can't take these resources. I guess technically he could take the deer, but then MBL could just send militia over. Is this not one of the messier games you've ever seen? It's ridiculous. And MBL is long distance hunting this food, which I think is the way to go. He's going to get a whole lot less because of the lame, but okay. Hera, he knows that this is no bueno. He has that extra water buffalo, so he's making militia now. 25 eco for both. 25, 25. It's just the military number that's the difference. And what resources they can take right now. MBL is completely out of the water buffalo because he had to take that earlier than Hera did. I think Hera, he'll be able to take these deer now. I'm surprised MBL didn't just shoot them. He actually collected the full 50 food with that bill, and he's on the way back home. And when you have these mass militia wars, it always becomes a matter of how much are you going to invest in Dark Age? How soon do you want to go to Feudal? Because if you go too soon, then you'll be overwhelmed. Whoa, teleport. Man, this patch has been so buggy. But yeah, there's pros and cons to it. But anyways, Hera, fortunately for him, he's able to breathe a little bit. Can now take his berries. And MBL's militia being trapped in here ended up being a pretty big deal. Beautiful highlight play from Hera. Probably one of the best highlights so far. I mean, he went for the lame, but that trap was pretty sick. Alright. And there's also Rhino over here for Hera to take, too. Hera at this point starting to farm. MBL thinking of farming. Ecos has been all about adapting over the last few moments. I see the militia engaging on this side, and Hera's scout is still alive too. Here we have militia from Hera chasing MBL, and it's just so messy. It's a messy, memey game. I know that it's not the norm, and for these two players, it's just kind of a silly game. But you have to be impressed with how they've been able to adapt throughout it all. Nice T90 farm, MBL. I'm really impressed. But you know, after both players losing resources, the traps, the awkward starts, they still end up being really close. Only difference is MBL has more militia, but 3 of which are trapped right there. I guess it is 3. One of them... Yeah, 2 of them, rather, are stacked. So, you can look at the resources and see pretty clearly what the difference is here. I think Hera had not gone to gold, so he can't afford more militia, whereas MBL had sent a few villagers to gold. This reminds me of almost a Huang play, when Huang plays with Celts, where he sends villas to gold with a mining camp. Well, Hera, after these militia, he's not going to have any more, and MBL's sending in more, and Hera either wasn't expecting this, or just couldn't do anything about it. And he could lose this villager. Doink! Teleport. Thank you, DE. Hera cleans that up. Thankfully, we'll have a few militia here to help. He goes for some quick walls. Man, it's so much clicking's required right now. And MBL could use the scout to block the quick wall. Hera tries to quick wall. He doesn't quick wall. Now his villagers on wood are at the very least going to be idled. But again, with the quick walls, Hera makes it so he won't lose any villagers. So, very impressed with Hera in this game. Quick walled the villager at the start to lame. Quick walled there as well. The struggle now becomes, was it worth it to go to Feudal Age? The militia do get a little bit cheaper for him. He obviously could research men-at-arms. If this were Huang in MBL's shoes, he would just continue to make militia and try and stall Hera and go fast castle behind it. This is going to be a theme throughout the rest of this game. Hera opting to go to the next stage, opting to gain some type of an advantage there, whether that's eco or military from it. Again, quick walls, another theme from this game. But it's 5 militia against 5 militia. Actually, don't love the fact that Hera's taking this fight because he doesn't have men-at-arms yet. Oh, he was distracted. He was distracted over here. Makes sense. MBL might be pleased with the fact that he fought before Hera had man-at-arms. Hera does end up cleaning this anyways. Alright, so Hera cleans up there. Hera, if you could say, cleans up here. Hera has a very impressive eco. Like, very impressive eco. After the market, And the blacksmith, Hera will be in the next stage. And so MBL has not even clicked the feudal age yet. He's adding another barracks. Okay, so let's break this down. Hera has two options when he makes it to Castle Age, as he quick walls again here. Option one is to boom. That is to add an extra TC as he... Oh man, I would have loved another trap there. But, yeah, so he... oh god, I just hit my, my pop filter here with my hands, because I talk with my hands. You guys don't see that. But anyways, so... He could boom or he could make military. And here come more quick walls from Hera. Quick wall, quick wall, quick wall. If he's making military, he has already put 500 food as he gets attacked here and trapped here again. He's already put 500 food into feudal age, and now he's putting 800 food and 200 gold into Castle Age. So he actually does not have as many resources to make military with. MBL, realizing he's behind, he's actually committed, so he had an extended Dark Age, is fighting with militia against men-at-arms, taking a pretty nice trade, and still producing. So he's basically not giving Hera time to breathe. Now there should be a point where Hera can get the better technologies out. So he can get longswords, for example, when he's in Castle Age. However, he should not have the numbers, because MBL will have the greater production. But if MBL is not able to continue pressuring, then Hera's in a rough position, right? Now, you could also say Hera's defended quite well with limited numbers, and he's just been using quick walls. He could add a second and a third town center, gain an even bigger eco lead, get eco technologies, yada, yada, yada over MBL, and then just stomp MBL when he has 20, 30 more villagers. So there's different approaches, and as we previously established, this is a very messy game, so it's kind of hard to know what to do. And I also don't think Hera was really expecting MBL to have this much going. I think maybe overconfidence from Hera made him think, well, yeah, whatever. I'm in Castle Age. He just arrived to Feudal Age. This game is over. Here, Hera fights it off with villagers. He won't lose a villager. He's building a second TC. Here, Hera, he shoots militia down with his TC. He has man-at-arms against militia. He will get that barracks up most likely, and he'll be fine. Here, Hera takes a good engagement again. And Hera has 29 kills, 14 deaths. MBL, knowing he's behind, is going to invest further into man-at-arms. It's really the only thing MBL can do. Hera has choices, but the only thing MBL can do is continue to produce. Because if you try and go Castle Age here, you're going to give Hera time to produce units. Now, Hera has added the second TC, so he wants to gain that eco lead, and he's still producing military, which I think is a good move. He's gone for the fine balance approach of having a mix. MBL did dock, and he's had fishing ships, and he also has a demo out, so be careful for that. But you also have to say that with the amount of villagers that MBL has on food and the amount of villagers that Hera has on food, long term, this should be better for MBL. And when you have two TCs, you're putting constant food production, you're investing food into villagers, right? So that also means less on the offensive front, despite having a bit more of a discount. Alright, so Hera backs up. MBL, still producing man-at-arms, guys. 75 population for him, he's pop-capped, extending his eco, like, adding so many farms. And Hera is just thinking, okay, I defend, my vill count should be higher than his. Now, very important thing to bring up here, because MBL has docked, the eco lead that Hera's going to have is not going to be quite as significant. And also because MBL has docked, he can defend himself quite nicely. Hera's going for a counterattack. Boom! Okay, somehow, 2 demos went off on that group, which is pretty weird. 23 military for MBL. Can Hera defend with walls like we've seen all game? Because there's men-at-arms over here. There's also men-at-arms on his gold right now, as Hera's trying to build a 3rd town center. All of his military went kaput. It all went kablooey, kablam. And now Hera's hoping that the eco will work for him, but MBL, who's still in feudal age, has more eco at least on the stats, and he's denying this town center for now. Also forcing repairs over here. I saw Hera go for a few traps, and Hera has got to be kicking himself now. Now, it wasn't the most serious game ever, and don't expect this from Hera or MBL in tournaments, but The 3 TC approach is kind of biting him in the butt right now, isn't it? 30 military against 5. All started off when Hera destroyed MBL's, shot MBL's Rhino, and shot those Ibex. This was a perfect play from MBL to produce more in Dark Age and produce more in Feudal. If you would have tried to rush for a faster Feudal and faster Castle, he would have just died because he would have allowed Hera to do what he wanted to do. What we have is Man-at-Arms without extra attack, and Man-at-Arms with extra attack. So they both have armor, but MBL has more upgrades, and it doesn't matter what age Hera's in. The only thing that he's benefiting from is the discount. MBL has 28 on food, Hera has 18 on food, and Hera also, like, I know he can do it because he's a beast, but the amount of clicking he has to do on everything, like quick walls and well, yeah, mainly quick walls, is really taxing because he can't do everything else. And then the spam continues from MBL. 41 military against 5. Well, we talked about it before. MBL, he's actually not really behind economically because of the amount of damage he's been able to do. But what should MBL's approach be in the next stage? Should it be to add a second TC and a third TC to try and catch up there? Should he invest hundreds of food into town centers? Or should he not produce out of multiple town centers and just save the food and get upgrades? Well, the answer is pretty simple, right? He already has Hera on the back foot. He's getting Longsword, he's getting Squires, and just now Hera, who's had so much idle time, is able to afford Longsword himself. This could be a good moment for Hera. Good cleanup as he repairs that house. MBL is not paying attention, didn't have Longsword, so that's a good cleanup, that's a good fight for Hera. Not as good as I thought it would be, actually. Oh yeah, but this TC's down. Longswords are sick, man. Longswords are so good against town centers. And MBL has so many of them. 39! 39 longswords against 7. And he also has slightly more economy. Certainly has less idle time. Hera's scrambling. He's been scrambling for a while. If he was a breakfast, he would be scrambled eggs right now. But while I like scrambled eggs, I love scrambled eggs, actually. There's no way that Hera can catch up here. There's no way. That TC is a goner. It's 41 military versus 4 still. Hera invested into eco that's just dying at this point. And what a ridiculously memey, silly game between these two. I want to think a little bit more about this. I actually will bring up the timeline here. I wonder if... So this is pretty telling. Just the quick walls were not enough to get Hera's eco where it needed to be. Kept the villagers alive, but had a lot more to do. But I think this stage right here, if Hera would have extended his... this stage right here, I think if he would have extended his Dark Age just a little bit more, it could have been better. I mean, it's hard to say, but I think that's where the struggle started, and that's where MBL started to gain momentum. So extend the Dark Age a little bit more so he can breathe, and then maybe just say 1 TC. Very difficult to say, but maybe it was too early to add the second and the third town center. You could also argue, though, that at that stage when he was already behind in numbers, you don't want to play towards your opponent's strength, and MBL's strength at that point was numbers. So maybe adding the TC was almost a way back, so to speak. That was one of the sillier games, we'll see. These two played quite a few games together that day. We had Hera going for Genitors. You had MBL going for weird castle drops and fast imps. They were going for memes, but it was a good game, and I hope to get more games from or between these two to YouTube soon. Back when I started casting, MBL and Hera, I think at the time Hera was 15. He's 20 now. MBL was like 20 at the time. But anyways, they're just playing all the time. I'd wake up, MBL and Hera are playing. I would cast a few games. I would go to work. I'd come home, and MBL and Hera were still playing. So it's pretty cool that these two are at the tippy top now after playing together for so long. And they have their moments because they're teammates, and they've been playing together for years. But they're a great group of guys, and fantastic to watch. So guys, if you like Goths on Golden Swamp, the recommended video at the top right should be a 2v2 where I played with MBL, where we went for mass man-at-arms. It was wild. The gameplay was not perfect, and it was Memey and messy. So I hope you enjoy that. Leave a comment if you would like to see some type of a... Okay, I don't even have this whole thought formed yet, but some type of a 1v1 matchup where I put restrictions on players, because I've been thinking about this recently. So, almost like, let's just go to the extreme and say they have to play backwards. So if you get Spanish, you think, what is one thing that Spanish is really bad with? I have to do that thing. I think that'd be interesting. I guess, of course, it's quite predictable. Spanish start going archers then. But if we make it where Spanish have to start going archers and then, I was going to say Aztecs have to start going scouts. It's not possible. Well, we could potentially find something where, like, the disadvantages, the weakness of each civilization would somehow match up. I don't know. It was just a thought when I saw how crazy this game was. Leave your comments, leave your ideas, and I'll take a look. Anyways, we'll see you.